Let me tell you the tale of Lio Marrowell, a bard whose songs wove truth like silver threads through the bright and shadowed tapestry of Wrenfall. Beneath the lantern-strung canopies of the Braided Lights orchard, in a market where all hearts seemed to flutter to the same rhythm, Lio made a living and a life among the hopeful and the lovelorn. Each evening, under the honeyed glow of heart-shaped lights, suitors gathered beneath the nodding arbor, clutching their confessions and tokens. Lio, ever smiling and small even for a halfling, would perch on his stool and strike a chord that seemed to pluck the truth straight from their souls. He would craft intricate inked tokens, ribbons of words bound in soft charms, and sing truths to trembling lovers. Love, you see, was a messy thing here in Wrenfall, as tangled as the old vines that clung to the latticework arbor. But that was its beauty. No promise was too neat, no confession too perfect. It was the imperfections that made the heat of hearts burn brightest. Or so Lio believed. Yet one evening, as twilight's velvet curtain wrapped Wrenfall, a new thread entered the tapestry, Vivien Coil. The tiefling enchanter's arrival was as striking and deliberate as her presence. Tall, cloaked in star-dappled silks, horns dripping with thin chains that chimed softly when she moved. She set up her stall beneath the easternmost branches and unveiled her craft, Truebind charms. Lio watched from his modest stool as curious crowds flocked to see. The charms were exquisite, luminous pendants of softly pulsing crystal, each tethered to another like a pair of beating hearts. Vivien's voice was velvet-laced steel as she spun her promise. These weren't mere trinkets, they were bonds, eternal ones, hearts bound forever. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and messiness, a thing of the past. Forever, she'd intone, her crimson eyes almost glowing, and her smile, sharp yet inviting, lingered just long enough to seal the promise. At first, the market buzzed with excited whispers, and Lio brushed the whole thing off with a laugh and a shake of his head. No charm can make a heart find its rhythm, he'd mutter. But as days turned into weeks, the whispers turned into a hum, then a buzz, then an uncomfortable silence. The orchard terraces began to change. Fewer lovers scurried to Lio's arbor. Fewer risks were taken. Tokens stopped flooding his hands, ink no longer smeared by nervous palms. Where there had been laughter, now there was an eerie calm. Loquacious sweethearts were now perfectly synchronized pairs, their eyes bright yet too still, too scripted. Lio watched helplessly as his friends succumbed one by one. His closest companion, Jory, the nimble-fingered rogue who once wove tales as deftly as he picked locks, now spoke only of his charmed partnership, in a tone so hollow it felt brittle. Mira, the druid whose love for wild things had once been her everything, seemed more like a caged bird herself. Even pragmatic Linwin, the elf counselor who called Wrenfall's people her family, had purchased a charm for efficiency in her arranged marriage, she claimed. Each bond left vibrant souls dulled, passions whispered into silence. Lio felt it keenly, like hearing an instrument just slightly out of tune. His heart ached, his music faltered. Love isn't meant to be trimmed down like hedges, he whispered to himself one night. It's a wild thing, and wild things should remain free. Unable to stand idle, Lio began to dig. With careful charm and theatrical aplomb, he infiltrated Vivien's growing inner circle, Jory sneaking him past the barriers one moment, Mira divining hidden truths the next. The answers they uncovered chilled Lio to the bone. Each Truebind charm, bound to the ether of the soul's desires, demanded a price. It harvested whimsy, freedom, the flame of uncertainty that made love brighter than the stars overhead. Those who wore them lost something different each day. An impulsive laugh, a dream long forgotten, a craving for adventure. It's a theft, Lio whispered, voice trembling. A theft wrapped in the prettiest package. Vivien Coil was no monster, Lio realized. She was a spider, spinning silken webs of temptation. To her, perfection mattered more than truth, control more than chaos, and she truly believed that this was a kindness. But Lio saw the fraying edges. He felt them. Perfection is just another cage, he told Jory, Mira, and Linwin when they gathered beneath the quiet knotting arbor. Love dies when it cannot breathe. Dreams wither when they cannot stretch. The time had come to confront Vivien. She welcomed him with a knowing smile when he arrived at her opulent stall. He tried charm first, then reason, but she waved away his protests with a sigh, a mother indulging a naive child. "People crave certainty," she said, her tone silken. "Love fails so often. Why not save them from themselves?" "Because joy lies in the fall," he bellowed, his voice cracking. "Catch everyone, and you smother the very fire they long to keep." Vivien paused, seeing the fervor in his eyes. Her lips curved again. "Fine, prove it. I will offer you control, Marrowell. Prove that your truth is worth more." In the silence that followed, Lio felt the weight of choices heavier than ever. With Mira, Jory, and Linwin at his side, trembling yet determined, they faced her loom of magic, a shimmering tapestry humming with threads of souls. To end it meant tearing the enchantment away entirely, unraveling the weave, freeing the hearts that it entrapped. But the price would be chaos, heartbreak, overwhelming confusion. Lio's people might not trust him again. To regulate it meant shaping firm laws around magical charms, striking a balance, but tearing apart Vivien would fracture the fragile peace Wrenfall had built. Or Lio could offer himself, his own truth, to become the loom's guardian. Eternally, he would keep love and freedom balanced, but to do so would mean silencing his songs, chaining his soul to a tireless magic forever. Under the lantern light, Lio looked to his friends, each with eyes heavy in the flickering shadows. And then he looked to the arbor, where the lifted voices of past lovers seemed to echo faintly. As his voice rose in the market square for perhaps the last time, he proclaimed his decision, not with words, but with a simple song, a melody free and wild as the orchard breezes, untamed by constraint, but all the more beautiful. The loom spun, unraveled. Within Vivien's crystal beam designs, the first threads began fraying free. Hearts filled again with their imperfections. Elsewhere, lantern knots unbraided themselves, as if in reverent agreement. Vivien Coil watched quietly as her work crumbled, but her expression was not one of anger. Her quicksilver eyes dimmed as her hands fell, her voice betraying neither triumph nor regret. She vanished into the quiet moments that followed, a whisper dancing on the wind. As the lantern strings above them shifted restlessly, one whispered tether floated down, brushing against Lio's cheek before drifting skyward again. A single imperfect knot, unbroken. What would you have chosen in his place? Would you have held the frayed knot or let it drift by? If this story sang to you in its wild, tangled way, click that subscribe button below. The next tale may be even more of a twist, or not, and until then, let love remain messy.